glare on there, but that's okay. This is the book that we're doing it, and we are on week 4. And this week our subject is prayer. So we're on day 1, Matthew 6, 9 through 13. I think I made it worse for y'all, so you can't see what this says. Oh, well, you know, things that we think will work don't always work. So if I put, they say to put something behind it, but I don't have anything really to put behind it. I don't have a piece of paper. Let's try this. Does this work? If I do that? No, that doesn't help whatsoever. Well, anyways, I'll make sure that this is at the bottom, at the end of the weeks, or the end when I redo the video, you'll be able to see it. All right, so we're on day 22, October 22nd, day 1, Matthew 6, 9 through 13. And since we're starting a new week, we're going to read what it says in here. Week 4. So the synopsis of this week is: prayer is the intimate communication between God and his people, serving as both a privilege of relationship and a source of spiritual power. Through prayer, we align our hearts with God's purposes and experience his presence in our daily lives. Conversations with God. When Jesus' disciples asked him to teach them to pray, he didn't begin with techniques or formulas. Instead, he started with Our Father, which is Matthew 6, 9, immediately establishing prayer as a relationship rather than a ritual. This simple address revolutionizes our understanding of prayer. We're not approaching a distant deity, but a loving Father who invites us into intimate conversation. The Apostle Paul addresses one of our deepest struggles with prayer when he writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." That's Philippians 4, 6. Notice that he doesn't just tell us not to worry. He offers prayer as an alternative to anxiety. Prayer becomes our path from panic to peace, not because we're guaranteed our desired outcome, but because we're connecting with the one who holds all things. When Paul encourages us to pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, he's not suggesting we spend all day in a prayer closet. Rather, he's inviting us to develop an ongoing conversation with God that weaves through our entire day. Prayer becomes less like a formal meeting and more like an open line of communication, a constant awareness of God's presence in every moment and circumstance. James tells us that the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective, James 5:16. Yet this power doesn't come from perfect words or proper formulas, but from the God who hears us. Like Daniel, who continued his pattern of prayer even when it became dangerous, Daniel 6:10, we're called to persist in prayer not because it's safe or easy, but because it connects us with the source of all power and wisdom. The psalmist reveals another crucial aspect of prayer when he writes, "If I had cherished sin in my heart, the Lord would not have listened," Psalm 66, verse 18. This reminds us that prayer isn't just about speaking to God. It's about aligning our hearts with his. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is simply allowing God to search our hearts and reveal areas that need his transforming touch. Jesus' parable of the persistent widow, Luke 18, 1 through 8, teaches us that prayer is not just about the request, but about developing persistent faith. The widow's persistence wasn't about wearing down reluctance, but about demonstrating trust. When we persist in prayer, we're not trying to convince God to care, we're expressing our continued independence on him. This week, as we think about prayer, let's remember that it's not about perfecting a spiritual practice, but about deepening a relationship. Whether we're bringing his big requests or small concerns, structured prayers or spontaneous conversations, formal petitions or wordless groans, we're not connecting with a Father who delights in communicating with. We are connecting with a Father who delights in communicating with his children. The invitation to pray is really an invitation to experience God's presence in every aspect of our lives. As we pray this week, let's move beyond viewing prayer as a religious duty and embrace it as the incredible privilege it is. Direct access to the Creator of the universe who chooses to be known as our Father. So tonight we had Bible study, and we finished the whole book of Ephesians with Joyce Meyer. And Joyce Meyer said, listen, if you're going to let God into your life, you need to let him into all the rooms. You need to let him into your finances. You need to let him into your personal life. You need to let him into your friendships. You need to invite him to every room that you have in your life. You need to invite the Lord to be there. Have no closed doors with the Lord. And that's what this is calling us to do. It's an open invitation to experience the Lord, and it's our privilege to have a one-on-one conversation with the Creator. That's what it's all about. All right, so we have 3 reflections for this week. Reflection number 1 is choose one regular activity like brewing coffee or stopping at traffic lights. How could you turn this into a prayer trigger this week? So what they're saying is maybe while you're waiting for your coffee to brew. Now, I don't have that privilege in this house because my husband lives his life according to the book of Hebrews. Hebrews. And he sets the coffee on an alarm, so we wake up and coffee's already done. So that won't work for us. But if you're stopped at a traffic light, is that a moment for you to have a conversation with the Lord? Absolutely. What 3 people or situations could you commit to praying for daily this week? Set a specific time and place for these prayers. So morning, noon, afternoon, maybe before you go to bed. This is your assignment. This is the first day of this week. So write down 3 people or 3 situations in your life that you could commit to praying for every day for the next 7 days. In what space could you create a dedicated prayer spot this week? What would you need to add or remove to make it conducive to prayer? So again, it's just like the assignments we had in the first couple times is pick a place. Pick a place that's quiet, that's away from all a bunch of activity or whatever. And if it's 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes. If you only have 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes. What time, what space can you create to have a conversation with the Lord? And all of our schedules are different, so it's really up to you and what works for you. Okay, now we're going to read Matthew 6, 9 through 13. Hang on, lady, we're turning. I'm excited about this week because prayer is something that I had to learn. And now everybody, when we're doing Bible studies and that kind of stuff, they're always looking at me to pray. And I'm like, y'all need to learn how to do this. Learn how to pray. It's nerve-wracking when you first start doing it. I completely understand it. But you only get better at things when you practice. So practice praying. Practice praying in private, in your car, away from people, and see what happens. And then let the Lord open up opportunities for you to pray publicly. All right, so Matthew 6, verse 9 through 13 in the NIV says, this then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. So that is what's commonly called the Lord's Prayer. And that's the first prayer that Jesus taught the disciples. For the Message Bible, I'm going to start in verse 7. The world is full of so-called prayer warriors who are prayer ignorant. They're full of formulas and programs and advice, peddling techniques for getting what you want from God. Don't fall for that nonsense. This is your Father you are dealing with, and He knows better than you what you need. With a God like this loving you, you can pray very simply like this. Our Father in heaven, reveal who you are. Set the world right. Do what's best, as above, so below. Keep us alive with 3 square meals. Keep us forgiven with you and forgiving others. keep us safe from ourselves and the devil. You're in charge. You can do anything you want. You're ablaze in beauty. Yes, yes, yes. I want to read the next paragraph because it's drawing me in. In prayer, there is a connection between what God does and what you do. You can't get forgiveness from God, for instance, without also forgiving others. If you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's part. Exactly. See, this is how God connects the dots for me. So we were listening to Joyce Myers today, and we were talking about putting on the full armor of God. And once we do that, which means we're saturated in His Word, we have our peace on our feet, we're walking in love, and all of these things, if we do everything that we can do, then we just stand because we've done our part. And now it's time for the Lord to do what we can't. So this thing where it says we're cut off from God's part, well, God's part is the stuff that we can't do. So we've got to learn how to walk with the Lord and walk in forgiveness, walk in love, walk in peace, do all that we can do, and then let the God of the universe, the creator of all things, do his part. It's as simple as that. We overcomplicate the gospel to the nth degree as humans. All right, I want to read the blessing for this week. May you discover the joy of constant conversation with God this week, finding His presence in both the quiet moments and the busy spaces of your life. All right, so that is it for today. And I made the reflections a little bit shorter for our purposes. So, one, what can you turn into prayer points throughout this week? Two, list 3 people to commit to praying for daily. And 3, designate a spot for prayer. Make it a distraction-free zone and commit to praying to the Lord. All right, I'll be back on here tomorrow night. We will be on day 2, Philippians 4, 6 through 7. All right, so we're doing the Bible in a year study, and I hope to see you in the morning for morning manna. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow night.